What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we're here for another episode of Bodybuilding University. And we are joined by Jonni Shreve, Martin Fitzwater, Brett Wilkin, and special guest Nick the Mutant Walker. I'll start with you, Nick, man. How have you been? Obviously, you've been pretty busy lately.
It's been a long couple of weeks, but I feel good. I'm back where I need to be. Mind's focused, and body's definitely moving in the right direction now. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, man. Under 9 weeks out of the Olympia, and it's like stacking up to be pretty insane.
Everyone's in it. What do you mean? Everyone's in it.
Top 10. It's insane. It's like anyone you predict in 10th place, it feels like you're being super disrespectful to them. So it's like, how does that feel coming into probably the most anticipated Olympia in I don't know how many years?
I mean, listen. I mean, I believe I'll still be in the top 5, but again, everyone's going to be in it. So I believe no one's safe regardless. I know you always hear you never, we're going to peak perfectly at every show, but this is the Olympia where you have to peak perfectly, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Brett, you've been training with Nick a few times lately down there in Raw and Revive in the gym there. And obviously you guys are coached both by Matt Jansen once again now. How do you feel about obviously seeing Nick, his mindset, how he's looking, all that sort of stuff, because you've got sort of that first-hand experience?
Yeah, like I said on the last podcast, we were talking a couple of days ago, and I've been fortunate enough to train with him, and we've been training body parts that he needed to bring up this year. Especially one focus for him was the quads for sure. To match his posterior chain, which is so dominant, and that's one thing that I've done 2 quad sessions with him, and right away I noticed just the thickness. The outer sweep. So, he did his homework this offseason. That's what, that's pretty much what the judges need said. It's bring this up and that's what we want to see. And you'll continue to rise. And he's done that. And so as long as he just stays on this path and, I gave some numbers last time, just from what he said, but I think, he'll probably be about 10 pounds heavier this Olympia too. Just as good as conditioning. So if you can put on 10 pounds, same conditioning, and you were already top 5, that's why I have him in the top 5 again, battling it out. So it's gonna be fun to watch as long as he just keeps staying in his lane, which I know he is, because I talk to him, and if not daily, every other day, and just making sure that this is cool and shit, but deep down we're all competitors, deep down we're all bodybuilders, and what I mean, and that's what the focus really is on. And even when Marty, I was always checking on him, hey, remember, this is the shit we do, man, day in, day out, fuck the shit, everything else. So I know they're in good spots mentally, and so that's where we need to be, and it's gonna be fun to see unfold. And this, right before we started, man, it's one for the ages, this depth. So it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, and Marty, someone said you should try 3 nasal strips. But Marty, obviously, being on this podcast as well, there was videos made in the past. I don't even know if I made one or not, about the feud between you and Nick Walker. Obviously, there's a photo of you guys from back in the day standing together, which is actually cool to see. And when I actually looked up Martin Fitzwater, Nick Walker, I'm like, they won't have any photos together. And I found that one. I was like, oh, that's cool. To look back at that, because hopefully we get to see you guys stand side by side on stage at some point. But that's sort of the other elephant in the room as well, is because you guys had that sort of, I suppose, that rivalry feud, whatever you want to call it. How are you guys now? Because it seems like, Nick, you threw a bunch of support behind Martin, and the way he was looking, and you were super encouraging as well from everything I saw during his prep for the Arnold. So I'll go to you first, Martin. How are you guys now? And it seems like you guys are on good terms, which is cool to see.
Yeah, man, we're on great terms. Nick and I actually check up on each other pretty regularly, and kind of had some trials and tribulations that are similar this last year's. So it's kind of nice being young guys. We both understand each other, man. We're both super, super competitive. It gets kind of taken the wrong way sometimes. And it's been nice, actually, squash the beef and be able to talk to each other and kind of lean on each other a little bit. I mean, he texted me first thing this morning. We were bullshitting and talking about how we're doing and just catching up, kind of like him and Brett do. It's nice to have other bodybuilders that understand and have that same competitive nature that just want to be the best in the world. So it's really cool, man. I was just being a jackass and being stubborn. And like I said in the past, Nick and I are so similar that I kind of had a rivalry with him because I wanted to be Nick, or I want to be in the same position as Nick. So we're in a better spot now, and it's cool, man, to see and be supportive and help each other get to the top.
Yeah, and it's cool because I've been able to sort of sit back and talking to all you guys and talking to other pros, and you sort of almost feel like you're somewhat in it, and you get to know that perspective of where your guys' minds are actually at. And I have such a different perspective on it now because in the past I'd see sometimes pro bodybuilders, sometimes respond to fans a certain way and go, oh, why would you even care? Because you're a pro, you're this sort of level. But you guys converse with other pros all the time, so it's almost like you feel like it's completely normal to be an IFBB pro bodybuilder in some sorts of ways, I feel like. So people, I suppose the general public, not the general public, but the bodybuilding fans see it very differently to how you guys see things. So you guys they forget you guys are normal humans. You have normal reactions, and you might see something that pisses you off in the moment and you react, and then that reaction for me or for someone who isn't known at all would just go away the next day. But for you guys, there's videos made, there's all this stuff that goes out there, and it becomes a big deal and bigger than it is. So Nick, that's something that you've had to deal with. Marty's had to deal with it. Brett's even had to deal with it. And Jonni, you probably had to deal with it too with your rise in popularity. But how have you dealt with that, and how do you deal with it differently now compared to maybe like a year or two ago?
Oh, me?
No, I'm asking Nick, but I'm saying
I think you just get to a point where a lot of the negativity you hear about yourself are coming from people that have no idea who the fuck you are. They don't know you from your own asshole. So for me, why would I get mad at somebody that's, going to wish death upon me, or I'm not going to be able to do this or do that, when they have never met me a single day in their life? Because 9 times out of 10, when I actually meet people that didn't like me, they end up liking me anyway. So why would I care what anyone has to say about me? The only people that should ever matter to you are the ones that are close to you and the ones that actually know who you are. Their opinions are what matter most. Somebody on fucking Instagram, Joe Schmo, saying, oh, you're going to die in 5 years. Why would I care? Who are you? You don't even have an Instagram picture. Like, I don't, So yeah. I just ignore it. I mean, when I first started getting negativity on the scene, I mean, I did it did get to me a little bit for sure, because it's just something you're not used to. And you're like, I don't understand why this is happening. But the bigger you become, the better you get, the more shit you're going to get. That's just the way it is. And mentally, you have to be strong enough to just ignore it and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, we've heard it before. Like, it's funny because you'll be, 200 and however many pounds lean, to high 200.
281, baby.
281, there you go. That's huge. That's what you are right now?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So 281 pounds.
Ask me again in 2 days.
and in good condition as well. But it doesn't matter. Regardless of condition, you'll see someone 280 pounds at your height that's fat. You know what I mean? And you don't have people saying to them on Instagram, regardless if they're a celebrity or not, you're going to die in 5 years and stuff like that. It's very rare to see that for someone overweight, because it's almost like people that, are fat because of because of not being disciplined enough or whatever. It's like, that's fine. But because you're choosing to be big, it's, we can go at you, which is it's a weird sort of concept. And I still honestly don't understand it. And I feel like it's not coming out of concern to say you're going to be dead in 5 years. It's just like, I don't know. I don't get people's mentality when they do that. And it's probably mostly coming from guys that are like 15 or 16
9
years
times
old.
out of 10, hatred comes from people that are just jealous of you or want to be like you.
Yeah.
Or they have the issues of their own, and that's
right. Or they have their yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marty, you've obviously had to deal with that as well, and we've sort of spoken about it a bit too. And do you feel like maybe you and Nick sort of bonded over going through somewhat similar things in terms of, being in the bodybuilding media?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. And us both being young too, man. Like, that's part of it too, is like we're both coming up in the scene and like kind of growing up as we bodybuild. We've been doing this since we were like 20 years old. Nick even younger than me. So like we're kind of like really leaning on each other now and like learning from each other as well, So kind of like keep your mouth shut, and if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here to talk to, and that kind of thing it's nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Jonni, like you've obviously come up heaps on YouTube lately, man. We spoke about it on last week's episode of Bodybuilding University. Have you copped much in terms of criticism or anything like that? Because most of what you do now is informational based stuff where you're just offering free information, which is awesome. So I imagine it's maybe less now, but you're more popular. So have you struggled with any of that sort of stuff? Or
you get the troll, and that's just gonna happen. And they don't mean like I don't pay him any mind whatsoever. And I mean that's basically it, right? For me. And then like also like YouTube, it's also like I almost dabbled into the clout chasing a lot. So, if you do that on your channel, you get a lot of that back anyway. So I avoid, you know what I mean? Like I pretty much put the kibosh to that, I would say over a year ago, like enough of that. Cause you just like, you ask for it and then it's a headache and then it's in your face and it's everyday type thing. I'm like, if I can control that part of it, I'm gonna stay clear of it. And then the ones that are just trolled, it's like, they don't really mean anything, right? They're just, they're gonna be there regardless. Like you can't avoid it. You can just, you can't avoid them being there, but you can definitely like not listen to it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. We're getting a ton of questions as well in the comments too. Tons obviously for Nick and with everything that's going on and stuff like that. And Lee Priest says best of luck in the Mr. O, Nick. So he's watching.
Thanks, Lee.
That's cool. But yeah, lots of sport here as well. So it's pretty cool. But Nick, let's get into your prep, and like I just want to discuss it a little bit, man, because obviously we don't every day get to get you on the podcast. And the last time we interviewed, man, was actually before you were pro, which is really cool. I actually went back.
Yeah.
I went back and listened to a bit of it, and I was just like, I don't like listening to myself years ago because I feel like I'm just so different then compared to now.
Yeah.
And even my interviewing style, I'm like cringing at it the whole time. But man, it was cool to see and hear us talk then, and you be confident back then, and to see where you've got to now. Because even back then, even though you had supporters, I don't think many people would think you would have an Arnold Classic title right now. No. So it's like,
no,
you've come so far, which is crazy. But how's the prep going? I suppose we'll go to some of your photos as well, and I'll bring those up. But how do you feel like you're looking this far out from the Olympia this year compared to this far out of like the Arnold Classic last year?
So that's hard to judge, right? Because, the first show I did last year was New York. So, and quite frankly, I never really had an off season since I turned pro, because if you remember, I turned pro in North American. 6 weeks later, I did Chicago, and then we chilled out for like 2 months and then started prep for New York, chilled out for another 2 months. Then there was the Arnold. So I never really had an off season. I never really got out of shape. So this year was actually like my first real off season that I've actually had. So I can't really remember, honestly, how I looked, we'll say like 9 weeks out from New York versus 9 weeks out now. But for me personally, I feel more confident now. My body is definitely changing daily at this point. The waist is getting tighter. I'm seeing more lines, more definition everywhere. And I'm going to be obviously a lot bigger too. So I think conditioning will definitely be on point, if not a little bit better with the added size. I feel really confident about this year now, for sure.
And people see you in person as well, man. I get a lot of comments. One of my mates was at the Olympia. When was it? The couple of years ago before you competed. And he's like, man, like Nick Walker is really, really big in person. Like you got to sort of see it in person to appreciate your sort of size. And you can sort of see it on this video. It's just like, how does it feel having arms that big? Like you can't curl it all the way up. Like your arm size literally limits it.
It's funny because I don't really notice it. Sometimes I think my arms are small. Like if I wear like
forever small.
I wear like a 4X shirt. If I wear a 4X shirt, like one day my arms are really tight, and then like a week later or something, they feel a little looser, and I get all make my head about it. But Martin,
I
know.
No, but I think as a bodybuilder, we all go through that. It's like, yeah, you're big as shit, but to you don't feel that way.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Like when I watch this video back, I'm like, that's some big fucking arms right there. But in the midst of it, like I don't feel that.
From the front end, it's like normal,
Yeah, I feel like I have a normal size arm.
Nick, I gotta ask the question, Nick. When you train, because I just think you do, but like when you train, how dialed in and focused are you in like every rep in like Like, take me through a contraction. In my head, I feel like you're just like hyper focused.
I
when
am.
you
So
train.
like I don't.
Oh,
at
hold
this
on,
point,
Nick. Johnny has the biggest man crush on your train.
I know he does. I
We
watched his
gotta
video on me.
get this off the board first.
I saw his video on me. He's
Johnny
160 pound
uses you
dumbbell
for
press
every
for 1
example
minute.
of perfect form ever, and for good reason.
Yo.
Good reason, but okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, but like when I train now, it's like, yeah, I try to push as heavy as I can, but the purpose for me now is I want to make sure that I contract every rep as possible, as hard as I can possible. So I'm not so much worried about the weight per se anymore. As long as I'm getting the most contraction that I can get for what I'm doing, the chest, in my opinion, is going to grow regardless. And that's, it just so happens that sometimes I can do some really heavy shit that way. But not now being this closer to a show, I try to pay like even more attention to it.
Yeah.
So if I feel, say for example, if I do a dumbbell press now with 160s and I'm like, that's okay, and then I go do 140s and I felt that 10 times more, I'll probably stay at the 140s and just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's man, like your technique is, because we don't normally see that. We've seen like obviously Ronnie Coleman in the past, like some of those big freaks, like, or hopefully I don't know if my screen was just freezing, man. It's freezing for me, but some of those like big freaks, yeah, lifted a ton of weight, like you see like the Dorians, the Ronnies and stuff like that, and that sort of became the way to do things. What sort of led you to using such precise, perfect form? Was it just the fact that you learned that way and it just always worked?
No, actually, I used to train very, very high volume when I like first started competing. I was a very high volume guy.
Is that because you're a Jay fan?
Huh?
Is that because you're a Jay fan?
I mean, I could have been part of it at the time, yeah. But then when me and Matt started working together in 2019, he kind of revamped that for me a little bit. And he was the one that brought me to just doing a top set and a back off set. And he was very keen about form. And then once he was like that with me, then I became even more obsessed about having strict form and working my way up with the weight. So technically, when I started working with Matt, I kind of like restarted my entire training and worked my way back up again.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. Man, like, do you have, I suppose, like Brett and Martin and Johnny as well? Obviously, you're not like competing now, but Brett, I'll go to you first. Like, do you have a very similar training style to Nick? So when you guys train together, is it pretty much the same sort of thing?
So yeah, I mean, I think like we've had the same training style for the last couple of years, and then once he has been over in Tampa training with Kamal more, his volume increased a little bit more this past year. And one thing I noticed is when we started training again more recently, he kept saying like, okay, like this is what I like to do. Like the 2 to 3 warm-ups into an all-out, 110% all effort set, top set, as many reps as you can get it at a heavy weight. And then we go and, then you're either doing a back off with just a little bit lighter, or you're doing, time under tension set, you're doing a cluster set, you're doing a rest pause set. So like we get the most out of that because we put all out effort into those 2 top sets, and then we move on, because that way then you can get more exercises in instead of just doing so much volume on certain ones that you tire yourself out. Because we are obviously he's a lot bigger than Kamal, so maybe not be able to keep up as long. But with our training style, it's more about max effort on certain numbers and then move on. You know what I mean? So I think we both respond really well from it, obviously, coming from our track record these last 3 years. And I think that's kind of his home, and he's found that, and he's executed very well.
No,
for sure. Nick, are you still training with Kamal, or is it changed now that you've gone back?
No, I did. I'll be honest, and I'm sure I'll get shit for this, but I did take a step back from training with him just because, like Brett said, there's two different training styles, and don't get me wrong, I love training with Kamal. It was fun, but it was a shit ton of fucking volume, man. Like I would wake up that next morning like feeling like dog doo-doo. You know what I mean? Like I'm overtaxed. So I did kind of have to separate for a little while and kind of go back to what I think was best for me. And we see each other every day still. Like it's there's no problem. But yeah, I just think for me, as heavy as I am, like Brett said, I think the too much volume can play a major role in recovery. And being so I don't want to say so close, but pretty close to Olympia, you have to pay very close attention to that.
Yeah.
And my entire pro career was, you know, lower volume and just that one all-out set, which has worked. So I have gone back to that, and I feel like, again, my body's responding a lot better now to it. So
that's cool. Do you feel like you've almost got like an extra just kick of growth? You know what I mean? Because when you change training styles, and
yeah,
back
I do feel like the strength did go up again a little bit here. I mean, I'm sure it'll sink down in a few weeks. But because of how I'm doing it now, but yeah, I mean, like I remember I deadlifted with Brett at Revive, and I did like 4 plates for 12, I think, right? And then I did it again 2 weeks later, and I, you know, did 495 for 10. So, you know, I was pretty happy with that, to be honest. I didn't think that was going to happen.
And the coolest thing about that was like, he didn't adjust anything. You know, I told him, I was like, hey man, I'm deadlifting. I know you haven't been, but this is what I'm gonna do for hamstrings. And he, you know, he stepped up and just fucking ripped them out. And then realized it, fuck, you know, this feels fucking good again, you know?
Yeah, fucking fun.
Once you reintroduce something like that, you're like, okay, I'm hooked again. So now
I was like, yo, this is the shit right here.
But yeah, it's just challenging, man. You gotta challenge yourself on those all-out sets. I think that's the real key to growth, is just, you know, fucking, I'm getting 15 here. I might only get 10, but we're gonna turn it into 15. You know?
Yeah, and I think honestly, that's one of the cool things with training with Brett is we don't try to outwork each other. We motivate and push each other to get better. And you can tell the difference between training someone who's just trying to outbeat you versus someone that wants you to just try to push you to get better. And Brett's been that person for me, as I'm sure he feels the same. And that's another reason why I think we make you know, good training partners.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Are you going to be staying up because you're up in Tampa now? Are you going to be staying up there permanently, or?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. My lease is up, or my rent, whatever you want to call it, for this house in April. Yeah. So I'll see where I'm at by now. You know, the goal is obviously just to focus on the Olympia and, you know, possibly the Arnold. I'll debate that depending on how I feel after the Olympia. But I did talk to Brett, and I think what I'm gonna do is maybe 3 to 4 weeks out, I'm gonna rent like an Airbnb in Stewart and kind of finish out the prep there, so I can obviously train with Brett a little more, and you know, have Matt see me more in person rather than pictures. So
yeah, awesome. That would definitely make a difference. Like, obviously you've done that before, living down there. Does it just feel much more comfortable in terms of like less stress for you and not having to worry about
because pictures tell a whole different story. You know what I'm saying? Like when Brett would send me pictures, and it's like he looks phenomenal, but I just saw him in person on Saturday, so I know how he really looks. You know, so there's always that little bit of difference in person that you wouldn't see in a photo. And I just feel like the lighting plays a role in all this. And I know Matt has a great eye. You know, Matt can see shit clearly, but in person it's just always better. You know, he's now right in front of you. He's looking at you, and he can make any changes he feels necessary right on the spot. And that's, you know, it is in that sense less stress on me, because like I said, obviously I feel most confident with him. So whatever he says, I do. But definitely in person, I think is a lot better.
For sure. And obviously you said you've seen Brett in person. It tells a different story. So what's the story in person?
He's going to win Romania.
Yeah.
I like it. Hey, Brett, do you know who else is doing that one?
I don't. I really don't.
Brett's going to have his Olympia debut this year.
Yeah. That's
what I'd love to see it, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Obviously, going into the Olympia, Nick, I want to just ask you a couple more questions on this, then we'll move on and just answer some listener questions and go over any bodybuilding topics. But I've completely forgot what I was going to ask you, man. I had a question. Oh, yeah. So the guys you're up against, obviously, Hunter beat you out last year in terms of the judging.
Debatable.
What's that?
Debatable,
yeah. Obviously, I think most people had you obviously beating Hunter last year, but I've heard some people say that Hunter, you know, was a bit different in person, but who knows? I wasn't there to make that judgment 100%. But by the photos, by the videos, I had you winning. Hunter's made some improvements this year. How do you think you match up this year with Hunter Labrada specifically?
Listen, I think it's going to be another battle between me and him. You know, he's made improvements where he's needed. I've made improvements where I needed. We all know he has prettier shape than me. That's genetic. Can't help it. Sorry. But I think it's going to come down to, like I said, who's most conditioned, who's the driest, who's the fullest, who's the most conditioned. I mean, and I think, I mean, I guess I'm just me, but I think I'll beat that battle.
Well, that's what I'm predicting. We sort of, I don't know if we gave a top 5 or if we spoke about it on the last podcast or what it was. I can't quite remember. But
we spoke about it, and pretty much everybody had the same top 5 as last year.
Well, I think I subbed in Bonac for
Dorian Yates.
What's that?
Nothing.
Those are the top 5 of all time when we messed that up. Nick, do you have a top 5 bodybuilders of all time?
Top 5 bodybuilders? Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates, Kevin Levrone, and Flex Wheeler.
Yeah, nice. I like it. In terms of physiques, just say we're judging physiques on stage today, right? So you can say their best physique of all time. So would that be your top 5 in terms of just purely physiques, in terms of where you think they'd place today? We've had this debate on this show.
Yeah.
Is it the exact same?
Yeah.
So Flex Wheeler's best would beat Big Rami's best?
Oh, I guess. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to say anything.
Sorry, man. You're putting me on the spot. Back on the show. So.
He's like, I don't want another video made about me. Fuck you. Don't let me say something bad about anyone.
Sorry, bro. I know that's because I forget as well. If I say, yeah, I think Big Rami's best would beat Flex Wheels, no one's going to report it. But if you say it,
yeah, it's 15-minute video.
Guys, get your questions in now. I'm going to be asking Nick and all the guys questions, and we give us some we can all answer as well. So Nick's just not so under pressure.
It'll be all Nick.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it'll be all Nick.
Are you beating this guy, Nick? Yeah, people are very happy. We've got almost 400 viewers live as well, which is really good. So here we go. What does Nick think about? What does Nick think about Andrew Jacked and whether he sees him as a threat in any way? This is from Workout Unleashed on YouTube.
Oh, God.
We'll all give our opinion on Andrew Jacked.
I think Andrew Jacked is a great bodybuilder. I think he has great shape. Obviously, I've not seen him in person. Martin has. I think he also has big weaknesses as well as his strong points are. But I don't see him as a threat to me this year. No.
Yeah, for sure. And Young Peck 23 says Trigilli would be on your ass.
Okay.
Always.
And big boys with Martin Nick friends now. Yes.
Yeah, where you been, bro?
Yeah, jeez.
Here we go. From Cole Thompson says, do you guys find it harder to sleep during off-season or prep? I'll give you a rest, Nick. Johnny, what about you?
I find I can sleep all the time, man. Indica all night. Got no problem sleeping, man.
For sure. Marty, what about you?
Even at the very end of prep, like do you have to or what?
So during and the prep, it's okay. So I stopped smoking weed and the prep because I can't. If I smoke weed, I'm done prep.
You got
I'm done. I'm done. I gotta quit. 8 weeks out, I have no control. Zero. If you gave me $1 million at the end of prep 3 weeks out, like here's Oreos and Ben and Jerry's,
really?
I'm like, yo, I'd be sweating buckets.
Oh man,
no shit.
Yeah. So I delete it. I delete it out, man.
You're not a real stoner. Come on.
Yes, I yo, yeah.
Yes, I am.
You smoke it without eating.
Bro, I cannot. Not on prep. Can't. 8 weeks out, it's gone. And then I'm sleeping pills and I'm asleep. But like, I get because I'm up all day. I'm up early as hell. And then I'm just like constant. And then by the time nighttime comes, I'm just done. Crash. Yeah.
But like I don't find like a lot of people say they get the munchies when they have weed. Like Brett, and like all you guys, Brett, do you get munchies when you have weed in prep or no?
No. That's a mental battle that you need to be able to win. I truly do.
Hell yeah.
Any day.
Hell yeah.
You can use it as a tool, but you can use it as, if you're mentally locked in, you can use it as a tool just to, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to relax. I'm going to watch this show and I'm going to go to bed. You know what I mean? Like
you guys are amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's what you want more, I think, that's truly what I want. I'm not going to sacrifice eating 3 Oreo cookies because I just can't mentally handle it. I'm not, and it happens to a lot of people. I'm not just calling you out, Johnny. I'm just
it'd be way more than 3 Oreos. That's for damn sure.
Yes.
3 Oreos.
About 40 Oreos though. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be 2 or 3. It'd be 4.
It's the whole thing, bro.
Yeah.
I find it easier, man. Like honestly, like I find it's almost like a distraction. Like instead of like thinking about food, you're like, well, have a bit of this and then chill out and I don't know, watch something.
If you already know you can't have those things, then like you can channel your mind to like lock into something else or just zone out.
I just don't do it. I just like fuck it.
I was done.
Yeah.
Then Marty, do you get that? Like, do you crave food more? Because like for me, it just makes me enjoy food more. Like if I'm having a cheat meal, it's like okay, yep, I know what's happening.
It makes it taste way
So,
better.
like, if I go into a meal with like the intention of being stoned and like want to eat a lot of food, then like I could make it that way. But, like, like if that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like I'm like before a cheat meal, I get like ripped out of my mind. But like normally, just when I'm in prep, like it has no effect on like food for me.
Yeah, it like improves my digestion for sure. Like if I'm like stomach's feeling a bit off or something like that, I'll just when you do a bit and then it just goes down.
That's definitely placebo. But.
I've never heard that.
I'm like, yo,
really?
Yeah,
do you take glutamine for digestion? No, I take weed, man.
This guy, you better chill out, Xavier.
Someone let me know. Someone please remind me of this. I was sure that must have been a thing.
I'm glad someone else said something. I'm like looking at Martin's screen. I'm like,
yeah, I'm googling it. Like, what the?
Can someone help me in the comments, please?
That's hilarious.
It helps with that.
Xavier Wills, they're bullshitting.
Okay, well,
how's my glaucoma?
No, I'm sure.
I'm just glad.
It just allows me to just hump in food and just not.
I haven't laughed today, so that was good.
I mean, maybe it's like a cortisol thing for you, Xavier. But
man, I am an anxious sort of person, so yeah, probably.
That's the only thing I can think of. But like, I think it's placebo.
Just call him right out.
All right. This one's for Johnny. Andre Hulk says, Johnny, when do you come to New York? I need to get a session with you.
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to do a mid-November, and it'll consist of Florida, New York, Toronto. So it's a possibility I'll be in November. Yeah.
Florida, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, man. I would come down and see you guys, man, and
you got the East Coast
watch you guys work out.
Yeah.
You guys should
link up. Videotaping Nick, like there he is.
You actually
taking like a nature friggin' show. These old men training.
Perfect for him.
you gonna have your binoculars and shit.
Well, back in the day, I don't know if Lee Priest is still watching, but he told a story once about how some guy in Gold's in Venice said, "Oh, can I pay money to watch you train?" And he's just like, "Oh, it's a free gym." He's like, "I can't stop you." And just sort of he went off, watched Lee Priest train, and then after the workout, he said, "Oh, that was amazing," and just handed him $500 cash. And he's just like, "All right."
Where those fans at? Where those fans at?
Like,
yeah, Nick,
just
get 10 people watching and $5,000 to work out.
Just charge people to look at you work out all day. That'd be dope.
I ain't mad at it.
It's a new theme. It's a new theme park in Florida.
Dude, we were in New York and like somebody we were just walking and somebody offered Chris like $1,000 for like a 30-second shout out video. Just walking by.
Really?
Like, hey, yeah. He's like, he took it. He's like, well, I don't really know what to say, but hey, I hope you're doing well.
Nice.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Let's go get some lunch.
Do you know what's so depressing about that for people watching this? That some people are like, I don't even earn that in a week for like a hard week of work, and he's just like, so, yeah. Does Chris do that? Or do any of you? Well, Nick, do you do this? I don't think you do, but like, there's that app where you can give shout outs to people and stuff like that.
Cameo.
Yeah.
Cameo.
No, I don't have Cameo.
You should do Cameo for sure. Bro. I think Cutler charges like $75.
It's an app.
Yeah.
So basically, like,
you kill it on there.
Yeah, for someone's birthday or whatever, they can pay.
You just give shout outs?
Yeah, you just do a little video shout out. Like, what's up? Happy birthday to whoever. And then
it's like $75. To $75 to $250 almost for like a minute.
No, you set your price point.
Well,
right?
you say your price whatever you want, but you can like it's a minute shout out.
If you get just say
I'm gonna download Cameo.
Look at put the real Lee Priest comment up.
Where is it? Oh wait, I'm getting behind him. I'm getting behind.
People paying me to call them a cunt.
We can't say that word on here. We can't say that word on here.
What's funny is I actually believe it.
100%.
Yeah, I believe it too. That's hilarious. But especially from Lee Priest too, because that's what he's known for. So it's like, oh, how funny would that be to get my mate?
Imagine. Hey man, call me a dick.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure there gets some weird ones too, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, those weird ones.
Nick's gonna retire on Cameo, guaranteed. Watch.
I don't know what happened.
Shout out, baby.
Nick, I'm sure you still get this, but I don't know what happened because back in the Facebook days before Instagram, I think it was like a big thing. There used to be so many, especially gay guys, sending weird messages, asking for posing trunks, offering to pay tons of money. I used to get several a week just myself. So like pros and stuff are probably getting like 30 a week, 40 a week or something. Like, do you still get that now? On Instagram?
Not as much, but periodically, I get the random guy. Yeah.
Maybe because OnlyFans is sort of like taking that market away.
Yeah, they're like, fuck it, I don't need Nick's trunks anymore. I got OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. $20 a month for this guy. Yeah. But yeah, that's hilarious. Does anyone OnlyFans is weird to me because it's
where are we going with this?
I was just thinking about it because
it's weird to me.
Well, because I feel like I don't know, because some people charge $20 a month, right? Like, are people signing up for what, like 5 people at a time, paying $100 a month when there's free porn out there? It's like,
yeah, but see, you get with the OnlyFans, you get to see
Chase,
like maybe you went to school with that you always wanted to see naked. You know what I mean? So people are gonna pay for that shit.
And I think it's more like personal interaction, but it might be
it
might be some guy from fucking the Middle East, but at least somebody's talking to you like, hey, what today, you know? Come buy my private stuff, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to speak to these people.
Yeah,
Xavier,
like, you can be like, hey, let me see you like finger your cooch for 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
And they'll be like, yeah, like $500, and you'll be like, okay.
You pay that shit. They hear the cha-ching sign, and you know.
So Xavier's trying to weasel away him to get into OnlyFans, eh? You want just
one, bro?
Just kind of like testing the water.
Yeah, just what do you guys think about this, huh?
I get half profit.
We can. Andrew Nolan, $1 for each of y'all not to sell your trunks to a creep.
$1.
Hey,
$1 at a time.
No deal. No deal.
Like, I'm still selling them.
Lee Priest, his comment.
Xavier 69, you know what's up. Oh, he's on there. Here we go. Edgar Calderon. Xavier is so, I can't say that word, but it starts in R and ends in tarded. Regular porn is so weird and corny. OnlyFans has some hot ass women. I feel like I don't know, paying for it's. I don't know, Nick. You've talked about this heaps on obviously other podcasts. Have you ever paid for porn websites?
Yes.
You have. Okay. How much? What was the bill?
No, I did I just did the quick $1 a day thing, and that was it. I just wanted to see what the exclusive shit was like. That was all.
Yeah, they tease you. Yeah. Has anyone else?
My mom's watching.
Yeah, Nick's mum.
Watching.
Nick's mum actually is watching.
He hears a lot of bad shit.
I
know that.
Fucking Lee.
I remember that one from high school.
They don't go away.
You know what I like about that?
It worked a lot.
I like about that one is that they have different categories. I like the categories.
Yeah. I never do the search.
Well, they have what you like. If you like MILF, they got a MILF category. You like, stepsister, they got a stepsister category. It's perfect.
I feel like they don't really sort out the categories in a good order, though. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Like there's some weird ones up the top, and I'm like, why do I have to?
Oh, they got some weird. They got some weird categories.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what people are into.
What's up with the stuff on Instagram now? Where they're obviously ads, but random pages will have it, and it'll be a girl, and she'll be like, I come home and my stepbrother's laying on the bed waiting and shit like that, and you're like, why is this on my Instagram?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or is it just my weird Instagram?
No, it's one of the.
I've never seen that.
I think it's one of the meme pages we follow.
It's a meme page, and then their ads are but it's always
stupid as fuck.
It's stepbrother related or stepsister shit, and it's just what people is that what they enjoy? It's weird.
Yeah,
I think that's just the algorithm.
It must work.
Yeah. We got from God's Gift said thoughts on Crizzo and where he will place. I'm assuming you maybe mean at the Olympia, but he hasn't made it yet. But he's doing that Prague Pro. Seems like he'll probably qualify because I don't know anyone else whatsoever doing that show. So I assume if there was a big name doing it, we probably would have heard about it, but you never know. But say he does the Olympia, where does everyone think he'll place? Is it out of the top 10? Is it in the top 10? Brett, I'll go to you first.
Be honest.
We need to see him at Prague. Supposedly he's waiting, to bring in the conditioning to the Olympia or to the Olympia qualifier Prague and then the Olympia. So he still has 9 weeks to put it together, meaning that we need to see that top level of conditioning. So it's, we know he has the shape, he has the size, still needs to bring up the back, overall, but we need to see that caliber of conditioning to be in that competitive field. If he shows up like he did at the pro qualifier, then no, that's not going to be a top 10 Olympia conditioning. So I think Prague will tell us a lot, and then leading in, that'll lead into the show. So I can't give you an exact answer on that yet.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like a wave of momentum for him, and it's like that through a lot of guys' careers. Like for you, Brett, it's like you had such a wave of momentum. Like after that Chicago win, and then everyone sort of died down a little bit, and then coming into the Arnold, huge wave of momentum. It's gone down a bit, and I think you're going to get that momentum back up again in terms of the fans' opinion. So for Crizzo, it's been way up. This guy can be first call out. He can do really well as soon as he came to America. And then it was he did that show and it sort of just died back down. People saying he's out of the top 10. So it's interesting to sort of see that. And I think that, a lot of the time with fans where they're really high on someone and then really low on someone, sometimes it's, somewhere between those two is where they're going to sort of end. And for Crizzo, I think that he has top 10 potential, but he's added so much muscle like a lot of you guys have as well recently that it depends if he'll be able to condition that muscle without losing some of it, from some of those spots where he sort of needs it, like his back and whatnot as well. So I'm interested to see that. But Marty, what do you think about Crizzo and where he would place at the Olympia if he makes it?
Honestly, I don't think we should be talking about his Olympia placing until he gets a qualification. I think the guy's really impressive, man. Very, very impressive. But there's a lot of really good bodybuilders that haven't qualified for the Olympia yet that are getting ready to compete, and he still has to beat them. I will say, he has crazy impressive body parts, but I also think he has weak body parts. And that makes it hard to crack the top 10 right now because there's a lot of really complete bodybuilders.
Yeah, people are pretty the perception in here is that people are pretty sort of down on Crizzo a little bit, out of the top 10, 9th. I mean, that'd be fine. But yeah, the opinions are sort of on the lower side of things compared to where they were earlier in the year. Johnny, what do you think about Crizzo and where he might sort of land?
I'm agree with everyone else. Like he's got to like win show first, and just from looking at the guys anyway, like we talked a few days ago that everyone looks like the top 10 already look really really good or way more complete. So you got to like wait till this guy actually competes, and then you got to see if he actually can bring in conditioning, and then make your predictions then. But I can't give him anything right now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Young Peck 23 says Xavier panel bigger arms, Nick or Crizzo? Nick.
Fuck me, dude. Are you shitting me?
I think you got the bigger arms. Your arms are like Crizzo is tall though, so size, actual measurement wise, do you think his could match up with yours?
No.
No. So I know Lee Priest, his arms, because he has some of the greatest arms of all time, obviously as well. And his arms measure, I think, like 21, but they look
like 28.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I know the height thing. How big are your arms now? What are they, like 23, 24?
24.
Jesus Christ.
That's crazy. I remember when Ronnie Coleman came down to a gym I was working at in Tasmania, which is down here, and someone said, "Hey, Ronnie, how big are your arms?" And he's like, 24. So I'm like, "Yeah, you can do that."
I'm gonna say it just like that too.
24.
24.
It was so funny because everyone expected, because back then when he came down, it was like the year he first lost the Olympia. So everyone was like, damn, because it was pre-planned, but he's coming down 2 weeks after the Olympia. Anyway, he came into the gym and everyone was like sort of thinking he's going to go in there and be like, yeah, buddy, like going nuts like when he trains, because we didn't have social media back then, really.
Yeah.
And then he's just really quiet and really like, just like going like this to like DMX, just like chill. But everyone's expecting what we saw in the videos of him just screaming and being like, yeah, buddy, let's go. And he's just real quiet because obviously post-Olympia, he's just training like super casual.
Yeah, he's not going hard at that point.
But everyone back then was so naive. You think every time Ronnie trains, he's going in there just like a beast, like yelling, screaming and stuff.
900 pounds every time.
It was still cool regardless. So it's still awesome to have Ronnie Coleman training in the gym you're working. You're just like, that's damn cool. Does it trip you guys out, especially, I suppose, like Nick being the highest placing guy, winning an Arnold Classic, but you used to look up to guys that at your level now, and even used to probably look up to guys that weren't even at the level you've gotten to? Do you sometimes like sit back and think about that and go, holy crap, like that's insane?
No, actually, I don't. Bro, to be honest with you, I haven't really, and I just talked to my mom about this earlier, I think. I still haven't really sat back and like taken in everything that is like I've done over the year, because I'm just, which is not a good thing, I should, but I'm just so focused on what comes next,
Yeah, for sure. That's totally understandable. I don't think so, but even App Tech Car says, Nick, will you be crossing 300 pounds in competition form?
I don't know.
If you grew 6 inches taller, maybe, or like 3 inches.
I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen.
What do you think you weigh this year versus last Olympia?
So last Olympia, I was 245. Ideally, I could see myself being 255, 260.
Yeah. Wow. That's insane. So where do you think you've added the most mass to your physique overall? Because obviously gaining that amount of weight, you've obviously added some good muscle.
I think my quads came up quite a bit. I think my back got bigger. My arms probably got bigger. And I do think my chest grew, but I don't. It still isn't proportionate, obviously, because everything else grew around it still. Yeah. But I do think my chest came up, and I honestly think everything came up a little bit. To be honest,
yeah. It looks that way, man. By the updates,
quads especially.
Yeah, and like even Brett said that was the main point for me was quads, and the way I trained them was a lot different too. Like I wasn't so worried about what weight I had on a leg press or a hack squat. All I cared about was contracting the outer sweep as hard as I fucking could, and whether that was with 2 plates or 4 plates, I got it done.
Yeah. What sort of foot positioning do you use for if you're trying to really contract that outer quad?
So
like
what I've done that I think helped me is, first of all, I keep my feet close, but when I push off the heel, I try to push off the edge of the heel where I feel like I can track my outer sweep a lot more.
Yeah, so like the outside of the foot sort of thing, like the outside of the heel. Yeah, for sure.
And doing that, like you're not going to be able to push the normal weight that you normally would, because you're going to lose that contraction. You're going to lose that mind muscle connection with it, and you're just going to be worried about pushing the fucking weight from A to B. And I didn't want to do that this year.
Yeah, for sure. Johnny's getting hard right now hearing Nick talk about form. And tell me what part of your foot you pushed through.
I'm listening to you explain that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I could tell you was like deep in thought. Do you do much of that, Johnny, with your training, or like advice wise, like if someone's like wanting to bring up a certain part of their quads or hamstrings or any body part?
Yeah, it's a huge part of. I look like the whole. This is pretty cool. It's like I was coached by Neil first, and then Matt.
Neil,
so we all come almost not Matt Jansen. We all come from almost like the same kind of like background of training, but understanding how to like actually use your hands and your feet to aid, being able to feel the actual muscles is like one of the biggest things that people misunderstand or just don't really like can't grasp. And a lot of the top bodybuilders know how to do that, like hand positioning, feet positioning, where to press on the foot or the hand, where to grip, how to contract muscle before, even actually lifting the weight or just flexing or contracting through the entire lift. That's what, guys like, Brad, Martin, Ozzy, Nick do. And that's why I study a lot of you guys, and I see that's why a lot of you guys have put on quality of muscle, because you guys can move very, very heavy weight, very controlled. So that weight is necessarily heavy to all of us, but it's a very moderate weight that you can still take to like absolute failure. And that's the whole thing, is being able to take, having efficient reps, like in a complete set, it's efficient right from start to finish. You don't feel the muscle at the last 4 reps. You feel it the first and all the way through. And so I watch you guys do that, and that's what's really cool to hear you talk about. And like, okay, cool, he's doing a form of external rotation, and that's how he's explaining it. So yeah, all the
Marty,
time.
It blows me out, Marty, how you guys like Nick, even guys like Brett as well, how quickly you guys have come up and been able to gain so much muscle, and at a young age as well, where like when I was younger, I know that I used to go in there and lift, but it wasn't like I was going, okay, yeah, I'm controlling perfectly the negative through this muscle and feeling this, and you only get that with sort of time in the gym. So it sort of surprises me, I guess, how some guys can get so big, so young, and so developed. And Marty, your physique looks like very well developed in terms of all of the heads of the muscles and stuff like that. You're not a young guy that's come up and there's spots that are just straight up lacking. So did you get that very early in terms of your training, in terms of where to push through and where to feel it and where to the hand and feet positioning and stuff?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, first off, like I started wrestling when I was 3. So like my body awareness just overall is crazy good, man. Like I've been in athletics my entire life. So like, but I do think that like hugely contributes to wrestling specifically, because you learn so much about feet positioning, hip positioning, lower back positioning, and shoulder positioning to get into moves, to be able to leverage out of moves. And really like hips and feet are everything in wrestling. So I think that's like a huge part of it. And then like I got obsessed with watching training videos and stuff really early on. Like I was watching Kai Green and Jay Cutler videos and Phil Heath videos and stuff at like 12 years old, like 10 years old. So by the time I was like really getting to train at like 14, I'd already like been watching these guys perform perfect rep after perfect rep. So I was already like on that path. And then also I kind of had like a beginning of like powerlifting stuff. Like I never competed in powerlifting, but I was surrounded by powerlifters that were all like technicians. So when I'm like deadlifting around them, they're like, hey, Marty, like do this, do that. This will work better for you. And then like I'm pulling crazy numbers. And then I just took that form, pulled the plate off each side, and did it for 8 reps instead. And I think that like massively made me grow, as well as then like obviously training with Brett, having good training partners like that, then just makes you even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. You guys obviously train with different people, like, mix it up a bit. Is it ever hard when you do that? Like Brett, like obviously you've trained with a few different people sort of lately. Is it hard sort of like going like, do you lead the workout most of the time, or do they lead the workout? Like if you have something specific during prep, like is it mostly you leading it? Like how does that work when you train with different pros and people?
Yeah, I mean, it also comes down to timing. You know, if I'm teaming up with somebody that's the first time, and say they're 8 weeks out or something, and I'm just in the off season, I'll let them run it. You know, but I won't chance that. Like, say I'm 8 weeks out and they're in off season, I'm running it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna make sure we get efficient. Thing is, now I've done trial and error with Martin, with Nick here. I know they train similar to me. I know they're gonna pick the correct exercise sequence, and I trust that. So that's a lot easier because I built that relationship and that trust. But you always got to kind of fill out that first one, and then and it's usually not done like during a prep. I usually Urs was kind of a rare example because we trained back and that was just the first time. But I've seen from his videos he trains hard, but I made sure I wanted to run that and feel him out and things like that. So it just comes, we are just so good. We're so competitive. So we use each other because we want to. The whole goal of it is just like, hey, when we get done today, we both want to feel like absolute shit, and that the muscle is torn down. Then we go home and recover. So like the best way to do that is if it's your way or if it's my way or if we go back and forth. Let's figure it out and get the shit done.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a question from God's Gift. Says Derek Lunsford, Olympia placing. I mean, he says rest in peace, John Meadows. So where do we think Derek is going to sort of play out? We talked about it a little bit on the last podcast. Some people I think people are more accurate now because everyone was putting everyone in the top 5 before, but someone says Lunsford top 10 here.
Yeah, I'm interested. It's good to have Nick on here because Nick sees Derek or saw Derek a lot more than we have, and exactly. We've got Nick. Last time we talked a lot about this Nick, and we don't know. We just don't know how he's going to match up, especially with this depth. It's just because we haven't seen him. Actually dieted down next to everybody in the size game here. Stand next to like a Rami or a Samson or something, or obviously you. So what's kind of your opinion on where do you kind of foresee him in all of this?
Well, I'll tell you this, in person, he's no small guy here for sure.
Yeah.
If I had to, I would have him no lower than 7th.
No lower than 7th?
Yes. Because the way I envision this, if it goes properly and if he peaks right, he's, like I said, he's not small. He has the size to compare, in my opinion. And if he brings that better conditioning, since he doesn't have to try and make a weight and sacrifice, the muscle and this and that, and he comes in hard as nails with the shape that he has, I really don't see him any lower than 7th.
That would be an impressive open debut in this Olympia, but I think Derek, when he probably started to make the decision, was thinking maybe it would be higher than that, I guess you'd say, because I really have no idea.
You could have him, honestly, as high as 4th.
Yeah, you're saying no lower than 7.
But I'm just saying I don't see him going lower than 7.
Yeah, which is obviously, I think, a big endorsement too, because you look at who's in that top group. Obviously, you got yourself, Brandon Curry, Big Ramy, Hardy Chup, and William Bonac. That's 5 names.
Like I said, if he nails it, he could knock people out, man. Like that's honestly.
So when I just named that top 6, man, that didn't include him, and it's got Hunter 6th or whoever 6th, and then you've still got tons of great names as well. So it's absolutely insane, man. And it's going to be exciting because whoever does well at this Olympia is going to get mad credit. Like it's going to be huge. So I think I tend to agree with you, man. I think there's going to be probably 1 or 2 of these guys in this top group that come in at not their best. And
someone's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, someone's going to get knocked out. Yeah, and I've seen as well on Fuad's latest podcast, a lot of those guys were predicting Brandon Curry, which I thought was crazy. And it's just obviously early predictions, and they're like, didn't want to do it. But predicting Brandon Curry as low as 8th and 7th and stuff like that, which is, to me, that's insane because Brandon has been top 3 in the world for the last 3 years.
Right.
And I've spoken to Brandon too, and
I don't think we'll be out of the top 5.
No, I think Brandon will be right up there, obviously, once again, because he's been out there for a while.
Abdullah sent me a video of Brandon this morning, and he looks fucking insane. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, he looks fucking wild.
Yeah, he's literally 0 dark 30. Like he has shut things down. Like he's not even. I don't think he's even really looking much at social media at all or anything like that. He's just like, I haven't seen much. He's just like, I'm just doing what I need to do or something. So I was like,
no,
he's locked in.
He looks fucking sick, man. It'll be a cool battle.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see that first call out for sure.
Yeah, honestly, can't wait for it. It's going to be very, very fun. And obviously being back in Vegas as well, I think is a cool thing because it's going to be a different experience for you, Nick, and hopefully for you, Brett, as well. And Johnny, I'm sure you're going out too, and I'm sure you're going out too, Marty. But Nick, are you more excited for it to be in Vegas, or do you feel like you just know the Orlando sort of venue and you feel more comfortable with that?
Man, I love Orlando. It's a nice drive. I don't gotta fly anywhere, man.
For your personal convenience, it's way better being in Orlando.
No, but I'm excited to go to Vegas for it. Obviously, that's where it's always been for the most part. So it's going to be cool to do that in Vegas. But for me, yeah, I like Orlando better just because that's where my first Olympia was. That's where I got comfortable. So I did like Orlando, but I'm excited for Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. Someone says, Nick, you live in Florida. Where is your tan?
Fuck off. No, I'm kidding.
Go away, Ethan.
I don't get out much.
Nick, did you ever go watch Olympia when it was in Vegas?
No, actually, no, I never did. The first Olympia I ever went to was the one that was in Orlando when Sean Carridio won the 212.
Okay.
That was my first Olympia ever.
Okay, cool. It'll be cool, man, because it's a lot cooler in Vegas, in my opinion.
Way better.
Yeah.
Love Vegas. Yeah. Love Vegas.
Well, I mean, like, just like when we competed at USA's too, like when you're done, like Vegas is sick as fuck.
Vegas, baby.
But like the venue and stuff, obviously it's different than the Orleans, but I still think it'll be that same sick, like.
No, it'll be better.
It'll be good. Way better.
Yeah,
way better.
And the Hollywood Auditorium is way better. So like it
Yeah.
should be sick. And like if it gets as packed as it did when I went to the Vegas, bro, there was way more fans than Orlando. Like makes Orlando look tiny. Like triple that. So that would be sick.
Yeah, I'd love to go into it in Vegas. I went like when it was the year when Kai Green flicked his hair in Phil Heath's face, and I was sort of watching it going like, is that happening right now? Like it was like the cool being there.
This is gonna be iconic.
Yeah, that's what I was like, because I wanted something to happen, because at prejudging when they walked out, I still felt like I was like, Phil's going to win. Like, and it was like Phil wasn't at his very best and Kai wasn't at his very best. And it was just sort of like, I'm like, I want to see something really epic and cool. And then I got to see that and I was like, yeah, I've got something. I was there then, So,
yeah.
That was cool. But yeah, it was such a cool experience being in Vegas, and like, you've got so much as a fan, like just specifically, you've got so much to do after and before. And, Vegas, you've got, if you want to go out and see like some celebrity, like, I don't know, some like concert or something, if you want to go to pool parties, you got that. If you want to just go out to the bars and just have like the typical Vegas trip with bodybuilding sprinkled in there on that weekend, you can do it, So especially coming from my perspective, coming from Australia, if you're coming to America for the Olympia, you probably want to do just more than the Olympia, And a lot of people come from Europe and all that sort of stuff as well. So from that perspective, I like it being in Vegas. But also the good thing about Orlando is like I would still like it to be there because you got obviously like Disney and all that sort of stuff. But apparently they've gone like completely woke or something. So I don't know how Disney's doing. But Nick, have you ever gone to like Disneyland or anything like that with the Olympia?
I love Disney, bro.
You've been there heaps?
The what?
To Disneyland.
You've been there a lot. You gotta start understanding Australian lingo if you're gonna be.
What the fuck did you say to me?
What did you say to me?
Heaps.
Yeah.
You want to fight?
Yeah. Fuck you say?
Did you say I have herpes?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know what what like the different terminology is, because I listen to so much American stuff, but I've got American and Australian all mixed into one. So sometimes I get confused what's Australian lingo and what's like American lingo. So,
Well, hey,
I
Xavier, I actually have a friend from Australia out here right now. I was just with him at the gym. Him and his girl came out because she's competing this weekend. But I'm doing a tour in January in Australia.
Oh, sick. Awesome.
And I'm going all up the coast. I'm going to like 4 different supplement stores. I'm going to 3 different gyms and doing a couple of seminars. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. So make sure we get together.
When are you doing that?
Yeah, I'll fly out.
I'm doing it like January, like 14th through the end of the month.
That's fucking bad.
Yeah. He said once. We've been talking about it for a year or two now, and he brought it all together. And I can't wait, dude. I'm really excited to get.
That's badass, bro.
I had a blast in 2018 when I was there, and so it'll be good to go back and then go see more places this time.
Hell yeah.
Sure, man. Yeah, well, like I live in Tasmania, so I'm guessing you probably might not be coming down here.
No, I mean, it sounds like we're going like 3 hours each day, like just going up and down the coast. But I'll find out more and I'll talk to you about it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that sounds cool. Because you obviously got like Australia, the East Coast is the main sort of spot because you got obviously Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, all those.
We'll start in
sort of main
Sydney
places.
and then we'll move from there. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, cool. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely make sure I get over there because it's only like an hour flight for me to Melbourne. So that's where like the Arnold and all that sort of stuff is, and Tony Doherty's gyms and all that sort of stuff. So we should actually try to hook something up with Josh Lenardowitz when you're in Melbourne as well.
Yeah. No, he just confirmed it today. Like I said, so like it's good. It's a done deal. So I'm excited.
Hell yeah,
that's awesome. All right, future biz plan because bodybuilding career is fast. Okay, so what's your guys' future business plans? Nick, do you have any future business plans, or is it obviously you're doing very well with bodybuilding right now?
I mean, I have
a while to think about.
Yeah.
I have some things in the works of, the business of bodybuilding right now. But I mean, I'll just be honest. I'm just focused on my career right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, what about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I still have a lot of competition ahead of me. Obviously, putting things in play. I'm having so much fun with like the branding of the butcher hooks and going that route with different ideas. I have a couple other ideas in the line of gym accessories that I want to do, and then also, I want to promote shows someday. So I'm trying to learn more about that, dive in that avenue. I have a lot of people around me that know a lot about that. So just got to kind of pick the region area that I would want to, and with the wife being a competitor as well, and us together doing shows, that's kind of a goal down the road, and just continuing to stay in this. I love bodybuilding. I love this industry. So, the longer I can stay in and make it, make a good career out of it, I want to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. Marty, what about you? You're obviously early days as well. So I'm assuming you're not thinking post bodybuilding too much, but yeah, I know you've obviously got more business savvy since being down there, being around, like Branch and all those guys. Obviously he's killing it business wise. So what about you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I have probably a little bit more focus than all these guys on that portion, maybe just because, like, I feel like that's the one thing that I can get ahead right now in the background while I'm still doing successful in bodybuilding stuff, and just really like lay foundation. So, like, more than anything, like you said, just like trying to sit with these CEOs and like learn what they're doing with their businesses and how they're growing and progressing. So both Branch with his Wicked Cuts and seeing like really what the end goal is there and like how much money he's making from that right now versus like long term, like selling a company and stuff. Like really when you start these things, like sometimes you look at like, is it worth just building a brand and selling it and you make all your money at the end, or like building a brand and slowly making money throughout it and stuff like that. So that part's been really cool, man. So I'm learning a lot. I have some opportunities maybe coming up that I'll invest in some businesses. And I also have a friend that's opening a gym right here in Dallas right now, that I'm probably going to buy some equipment for them. And then they'll slowly pay me off. But it'll be kind of invested in the gym, if you will, for a little bit and kind of learn that business as well, just to kind of be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Someone says, Jay Bordeaux says, Marty going to promote breathing strips after his career.
Yeah, that's funny. That's actually something that's in the works.
You're doing that now.
Someone else and I are partnering up that wears nose strips all the time, and we're probably going to be having a nose strip soon.
Yeah, for sure. What else we got here?
That guy's a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're promoting tampons next, apparently.
Thanks for watching, Doug.
Catch you, Doug. Time out.
Right, lady.
What else we got here?
It puts him in timeout.
Yeah, literally hilarious.
Blocked for 5 minutes. You timed out. Yeah, go to your quarter, Doug.
It's so condescending putting like probably an adult in timeout.
He's so pissed. He's like, you're watching. You're watching this class.
He's going to my YouTube right now to comment.
Oh, it's funny. Okay, so Ethan, whatever your last name is, Nick, any interest in acting like Arnold did?
Yeah, I mean, that is something I would like to get into.
That's dope.
Someone said you should be the Hulk somewhere as well.
I don't want to be the fucking Hulk.
Why?
I want to be a normal character. I want to be me.
Oh, you want to be like serious acting role?
Yeah, man.
Like, would you play the big guy though? Like, would that be the
I had
thing?
no choice.
Yeah,
You should
post
play.
career.
I want to see Nick play like a Tommy boy. That's where Nick fits. Like, he'll just be a fucking goober, man. That'd be
Didn't
perfect.
Arnold like lose like 30, 40 pounds? Like, he just started running and biking and eating salad just for a role, and he was still just way too big.
Yeah, they're like, no,
That's
sorry.
the normal people. It's like he's like, I did it. I lost 40 pounds. They're like, well, you're huge still. Like,
He's still huge.
So big. Let's go for another 30.
I think they said he had to get down 40 pounds by a certain date, and he just like murdered himself to get down to it.
he did.
So, okay,
Yeah, well, he definitely did it. But remember, he just always looks big on camera, obviously.
Oh.
Yeah. This guy says, Brett, who's the hardest person you've trained with this year?
This year.
Got two of them right here.
Yeah, no, those guys are always solid. Very, very good training partners. I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, obviously them or Ian, it's always consistent. You know what you're going to get out of it. You know you're going to get your ass whooped and you're going to go home getting better. So I haven't had any surprises this year. I'd like to I would like to get a session in with James Hollingshead at some point, especially a leg day, just because of like the density and, the effort he puts into it. I really like to train legs with him sometime.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's an interesting dude. I love James.
Yeah.
God's gift. Anyone being a coach who wants to do news like Tragilli? Lol. Just wanted to say thank you to all of you for making bodybuilding exciting, especially Nick. Like you other guys.
Welcome.
So anyone being a coach. So any of you guys coach people now, want to coach people in the future? Johnny, I know you coach people, obviously.
Yeah, I do. What was the question? Yeah, I coach.
Yeah,
I'll coach. I think Nick, do you coach as well too?
I don't coach. No.
Marty, you coach, don't you? And Brett, you do too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got clients.
Yeah. And the other question as well, before obviously post-career, Johnny, we're sort of like seeing you like, because obviously you're not competing right now. I don't know if you're going to compete in the future at all, but we're seeing your post-career literally right now and you're killing it on YouTube. So you're making, I'm assuming, pretty good money by the views. Like we can sort of assume that lately.
What's going on over here, man?
Huh?
Just put me on blast like that, eh?
Oh man, well it's obvious. You're getting huge views. You're obviously making some sort of financial benefit from that.
It's good. I set things up early when I started bodybuilding. So it was like I did all my networking when I was an amateur. Every time I went to Olympias and stuff, I was connecting and asking the right things. And I want to be set up before, when all was said and done, I had my things already going. So I already had a YouTube channel that was kind of going. COVID helped me out a little bit. And then, I got ebooks out. I got my online training. The YouTube channel is, pushing a lot of that. I'm getting into a bunch of other stuff. I'm in acting. I got a movie premiere, movie coming out next year. Kids vs. Aliens. Go watch it. I played the Beast Alien.
It's called Kids vs. Aliens.
It's called Kids vs. Aliens. Yeah. That's why I was in Austin. I was at Beyond Fest in LA, Fantastic Fest in Austin, and then we're doing another premiere here, and then we'll be out in Shutter, and then
Kids vs. Aliens.
Kids vs. Aliens.
What's it rated?
R.
Is this like Sharknado?
No.
It sounds like Sharknado.
Have you guys watched? Have you seen Hobo with a Shotgun?
Who?
Hobo with the Shotgun.
Hobo?
It's like Planet Terror type.
No.
You know what I mean? You guys don't watch movies.
No.
Hobo with the check out Hobo with a Shotgun.
Kids vs. Aliens.
Hobo with a shotgun?
Hobo with a Shotgun. Yeah.
Jesus.
It's America. They're both movies American produced, so it's not like a Canadian flick.
All right.
You Americans down there just sitting like Johnny's in some weird Canadian movie.
Look it up on Prime.
Probably on a sleigh with some Eskimos. Yeah, man, that's what I'm doing.
Sick.
Good.
Yeah.
Beast Alien, you are.
Racing street bikes, right?
Yeah, in the street, racing street
that's not
bikes.
like making you money, but it's post bodybuilding.
I love it, man.
Have you guys seen Fabian Rabia? He was in that Netflix series that was recently on.
Who?
Fabian Rabia, the guy who did Open and was doing classic physique, and everyone was talking about him challenging Bumstead, and he's gone and done Something versus Narcos.
Horse MD, is that the same guy?
No. Fabian Rabia. I'll pull him up.
Kids versus.
Oh yeah. He was kind of talking shit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So now he does movies, or he quit. He did an open show and didn't do very well, right?
Can you watch
an open
the movie?
It's something Narcos, and it's on Netflix right now. It's something.
Is Kids vs. Aliens like it's? I can watch it now.
No, it's not. It's premiering right now, but it won't be out until next year on Shudder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is Shudder like a here you are, Johnny?
You don't have
Shudder's,
to. Did that pay well?
It paid me like almost 30 for like 4 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I'm part of the action union here,
Good
so I
for
do
you.
like a bunch of back. I'm an alien.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Die.
No, I don't. I'm coming back for the sequel.
Oh no.
Yes.
Well,
Nice.
we're waiting for the go ahead, but they're
Kids versus.
yeah.
You got to be pushing this out, man. You got to get some good views so they bring the sequel back.
Oh yeah, this guy looks sick.
Yeah, so this is Fabian Rabia. So I think this is the trailer for. Oh, maybe it's a screenshot, but this is the thing he was in. It was called something Narcos, and it's like a Korean thing, and that's his head in the background. But he's in actual scenes, like there's actual scenes where he's jumping out, like kicking people's asses and stuff.
Dude, they get like acting money.
Oh my god! I watched this series.
You watched it?
This was a fucking badass series.
Really? Yeah. It was on the front page of my Netflix, so I was sort of surprised. I was like, "Oh, it's Netflix
It was
Korea."
pretty intense, yeah. The
What
first
one
episode,
is this?
like, this might be corny, but you gotta keep watching it.
Nick, is this like the it was like the Asian version of Narcos?
Yes, kind of, yeah.
So
It's a true story, apparently.
they're all true stories, or like based on.
Yeah, they're sick.
But I remember seeing him in one of the previews he posted up, and he was in it a fair bit. And he's actually one of the sort of, I don't know if he's like a main character, but he's on the, like Johnny's on here. He's on the front page like that as well. So he's obviously had some sort of a decent role in it, which is pretty cool.
That's dope.
I'll stop sharing that. I'll go back to the comments. Beth Rideout, do you know what's hilarious? Actually, you actually said, I bet Nick's joins the pod eating a meal with a spoon. Literally, when you commented that, Nick was eating a meal with a spoon. He just joined, so it was like next level. But she asked, how are we feeling about Bonac? Think he can crack the top 5? Bonac is one of those wild cards. Brett, do you think he cracks top 5 this year?
We've had this, man, he's right there on the edge. I think he definitely could. I know I was very impressed with him at the Arnold, especially standing up close. And I've talked about this. I thought he personally won the Arnold. That was my opinion, standing there on the side watching. But the main thing is, like, I know he's been focused the rest of the year. So if he really his shots are good, man. His legs are, back to what they were. So if he can bring, if he can bring what he was doing when he was getting, second and third, he's definitely going to be up there. He's sick. Yeah. He's complete. There's muscle everywhere. So it just matters what version we see. So if he's improved from the Arnold, then yeah, he can definitely be top 4, but it's going to be like anything else. Everyone can kind of shift around, mattering on how they peak.
Yeah. And Chad seems very confident. Obviously Chad Nichols, who's prepping him as well. And I think we're going to probably see a pretty damn good version of Bonac. It just depends if his physique holds the weight once it's fully dialed in, because obviously he's like, in terms of just his height and his structure, it seems like, Nick, you've got more sort of room on your structure to move. How much taller are you than Bonac?
He's on.
I think like a whole inch on him.
Yeah.
You're not taller than Bonac, are you?
Yes.
Bonac's like, I'm 5'7" and 3/4, and Bonac's same height as me.
No.
Dude, I was with him at the Olympia. I was with him at the Arnold when he won his first Arnold. Like, we room together.
Bro.
Huh?
I think you're counting his hair, bro.
Nah, man. No, I swear. I remember sitting next to me and Neil, and he put me and Bonac head to head.
Nick, were you side by side with Bonac on stage?
Dead mistake.
Yeah, I thought so. I'll find that if I can anyway.
But size wise, Nick way bigger than Bonac's like 230.
Yeah, and just the shoulder structure as well. When Bonac hits that most muscular, he's got the crazy arms. Obviously, you've got crazy arms too, Nick. But you're just wider across the shoulders. Like your most muscular is like the hands together. I think people forget it's a pretty damn crazy shot, you know, like you just sort of just go straight across the shoulders and it looks there's just a lot of detail and a lot happening on your physique. So it's Nick, obviously I've never seen you in person, but how's your feedback on how people say you look in person versus photos and videos? Because there's some physiques that I've seen in person, like Bonac, like a Branch Warren, that you can't really appreciate until you see it in the flesh.
Majority of the time, I always get you're a lot bigger in person than in your photo.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. So I'm not surprised at that. Here we go. Doug, Jonni he's back. Jonni is high. I need to get on his level.
That was a while ago, man. I got to re-up soon.
Someone said I thought Jonni was taller. Oh, here we go. Nick, I don't know if you want me to ask you this, but it's not bad. But David Future says, how does Nick feel about being talked about being outside the top 5? And then he put in brackets, Dennis podcast.
I watched
I don't know what they said.
Nick, I watched it.
Like
it.
DJ.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's listen, again, you don't, no one knows anything until show day, you know, that's really it. Everyone's going to have their opinions, predictions, and I don't ever take it personal. I just like proving people wrong. That's just what I thrive off of.
Yeah. So in your head, so someone predicts you, just say, like Brett had comments made about him recently that if it was me, I'd be like, oh, I'll fucking show you sort of thing, you know, even though you might not be angry at the person necessarily, but you'll just be like, you will be angry at them in your head to use it as motivation. Is that sort of what you do? So if someone predicts you, someone says on a podcast, they say, man, Nick's going to be 10th. He hasn't got it to beat this guy. Do you go, oh, motherfucker, I'm going to show you? Is that what you're saying in your head?
Yeah. I mean, I love that shit. It just fuels me.
Yeah, for sure. Brett, do you get that?
Yeah. You keep receipts. We all do. We keep receipts. But you know, we're to the point where like you don't act on those receipts. You don't need to say anything, but winning takes care of everything. So, you know, show them. Just the actions speak louder than words. But then we can laugh about it behind the scenes and joke about it and like work in progress and shit like that.
Work in progress and shit like that.
Shit like that.
Oh man. That was awesome. Here we go. Okay, good question from Chris Cavalos, who actually just competed over here in Australia and did pretty damn well, I believe. Question for Nick: are you doing anything differently for this year's example, different foods or different? He says king of training, but he means kind of training.
No. You know, I mean, now that you know me and Matt have linked back up, we're pretty much just doing what we used to do. There's nothing much.
I mean, your last season consisted of a win at New York, a win at the Arnold, and top 5 at the Olympia. Why would you want to change anything? You know,
we literally just went back to what we used to do, and it's working. So
yeah, exactly.
Sure. Makes sense, man. Makes sense. These are all very specific to Nick. Nick, how often do you shave your body hair?
I have to shave it every like 2 to 3 days.
Do you just stay literally fully shaved your whole body all the time?
I hate hair, bro.
Yeah. No, I hate hair as well. I actually had like
I see my legs start to get covered. I'm like, oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Get it off. Get it off.
Gotta go fucking shave.
But do you know what happens? When you become like a dad, you start to all of a sudden just justify how it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about, man?
You stay shaved all the time?
Of course. What are you talking about?
How much hair do you get on your body, though?
Enough for me to want to get it off.
Yeah.
I don't want it on anywhere.
I'm terrible, man. Like
armpit, nuts, asshole, fucking legs.
But do you get full coverage like everywhere? Like, do you get full coverage like of hair?
No, but like, you know, if like I got hair on my ass, I get rid of that. Hair on my nuts, get rid of that. Hair on my face, armpits, get rid of that. No hair on the chest, but
you gotta shave that, man.
Yeah, like it's
yeah.
I like keeping the flavor.
Yeah.
Xavier likes that flavor, extra flavor down there.
Hell yeah.
No, I don't like the flavor. No. But I get coverage, man, everywhere. The only spot I don't have hair on my body that grows is like from like here, like on my side of my like torso. That's about it. But everywhere else just gets covered. Like it's.
I don't know who does have hair on the side of their torso. Does
Huh?
anyone have hair? Does anyone have hair here?
That's
No,
my
I
point. I
don't.
have hair everywhere else. It grows like it doesn't stop.
Like a cheetah.
Do you shave or no?
Well, yeah, I shave most of the time. I've actually got a hair removal thing, like one of those laser things.
Yeah.
I think it's like $600 or something, but it's one of those things you have that you got to, shave yourself down and then use it. It just doesn't really get used that much. But if I paid to have it done somewhere, I'd have it done. I actually had, I don't know if I should say this. I actually had hair removal done, and I wanted it done on my ass, like my butt cheeks, because I don't want to grow hair there
Just
anymore.
like your Ian.
Huh?
That's
no, I'm good. but I had that done, and then she goes like, because she's like, okay, lay on your side, and I'm like, oh, okay, because I had to shave it all, and it was like the night before, and I had to try to shave as much as I can myself, and I'm going,
This isn't great.
how far do I shave in? And then I was just like, oh, I don't know. And then she goes, how far do you want me to go in? I'm like,
All the way, baby.
And then she's like, and I'm like, does anyone ever go all the way? And then she's like, some people. And I'm like, yeah. So she just went the whole thing. And it's like someone, I don't know if you guys have ever had it done, but it's like someone flicking a rubber band really hard, like continuously.
Not cool. Not cool.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
You're meant to shave it before you go there. I'm like, I don't know if I've got every single hair. And she's like, oh, no, it's all good. I can do it. She literally shaved. Like, it was like crazy. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
crazy. It was one of those things where I just thought I was getting my cheeks done, and she just went all the way. But
How clean were you wipe clean for that whole week for sure.
oh yeah. I'm getting confused by these comments. I feel like people are having conversations in the comments.
Brett looks bored as hell.
Oh, I'm just tired, man. I'm actually I'm enjoying this. I'm just tired.
It's like when I get in prep as well. When I'm like, when I've done it before and I've been weeks out.
It's the last couple hours of the day where you're just like,
Yeah, I just want to sit home. I don't want anyone to talk to me. I just want to sit at my phone, sit on the couch on my phone, just like scroll a few things and just be like, I don't want to talk to anyone. But like,
all right, Doug's back and he's cool now. He says I need some carbs, so Doug, we're cool.
Doug.
Welcome back from timeout.
That timeout did him some good.
Did you bring me any carbs?
Brett needs some carbs. I feel like Doug's a changed man.
Timeout did him good.
That's it.
It's like going to jail. He came out fully changed. Found God. Someone asked if I'm competing again. Hopefully next year, if I'm not injured. Someone, Spicy Terp says, Xavier, did it work well? Did the hair grow back? Or yeah, actually the place I went to, I paid for sessions and then they closed down and I lost out on.
Wow.
Bro.
The lady probably quit her job, bro.
Yeah. Apparently the people were dodgy, and I got their number and started like leaving abusive messages, but no, it didn't get right.
Finish shaving my ass.
Brett's got prep face on.
There you go.
Cool. Anyway, people asking what our thoughts are on Big Rami's posted pictures. Obviously, crazy. We've sort of talked about it already. Johnny, I haven't got your thoughts though. What do you think about Big Rami's latest or video? Really, what we saw online?
Honestly, man, I just like wait until the day of.
Yeah.
Like I've watched like 6 Olympias and it's the same every single time. It's like everything sounds and looks good, everyone looks great by themselves, and then the day of the shows, predictions are fun and all, but it's like,
Well, what I've noticed is it's awesome. So Chad Nichols does an awesome job of like talking up his athletes, which is great. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
And so I was reading today how he was saying how Rami came into this prep, already had been lifting, focused, ready, awesome. But things like last prep, he showed up 12 weeks out, hadn't been, had some distraction, wasn't lifting. But I remember last year at this point, he was talking him up this exact same way. He was just like, this is the best he's ever going to beat.
Rami ever.
This is the best Rami ever. He's already better than last year. But then now you're like, okay, but really, we didn't start until 12 weeks out. We didn't even know if we were going to make it. But the whole time I was telling, which is his job. I get it. So but now it's like hard. We've heard this stuff. The same goes for
every year.
The other guru, the Interjacks coach, what's his name?
George Farah.
It's like every year you hear the same thing. And it's like, And, we want to get excited, but I've got to that point where, like Jonni said, I don't get excited until the day of, until they walk out for that first fucking, flare it out, show it off. Then,
Yeah. It was like when Jay came out when he made his comeback. It was just like no one expected that. People were saying Jay is going to drop to 5th and 6th and all that sort of stuff. So we don't really know until we see it all on stage, So that's I can't wait for that. And I think Big Ramy, like if he looks like he looks in his updates, it's absolutely insane. But will he maintain that same level of dedication throughout the whole prep? Because we heard last year, but he almost pulled out. So it's like if you're almost pulling out 1 year prior, who knows if you'll have those same issues that caused him to get to that state last year. You just don't know what will actually happen. And obviously what happened when he didn't show up at the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing, I heard what came out says he had no access to a phone for 2 weeks. And this was said on another podcast. And it was, I was like, what leads you to have no access to a phone for 2 weeks to let people know and all that sort of stuff? So if that same thing happened as well, that could completely derail a prep. So you never know what might happen. And not saying that he needs something like that to happen. He could just miss it for whatever reason, some disaster with carb ups and all that sort of stuff, which we know happens quite a lot. So who knows what will happen with Big Ramy. But guys, I think we'll wrap this one up. Nick, I want to thank you so much for coming on here and, being open, honest, and
fun.
Yeah, man. And we, sorry if I grilled you a bit too. That's cool though, man. And I think the way, like I mentioned in my video as well, I'm, impressed with the way you've handled things and stuff because, from your perspective, from Fuad's perspective, from everyone involved's perspective, it's hard when you got a lot of people coming at you and fans and all that sort of stuff and people trying to pick sides. And I think the main takeaway from it is that, I think that we can all just get along and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, there's going to be conflict and all that. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of things are blown up more than perhaps they should be. And you're obviously now working with Matt Jansen again, you feel more comfortable and, you're obviously a guy that's doing really well in the industry. And, why would you stay in a situation, regardless of what it is, whether it's sponsors, coaches, and all that sort of stuff, where you don't feel completely comfortable and you don't feel like you're getting the best out of yourself. So I just want to say, man, I'm proud of the way you've handled things, at least from the outside looking in. I don't know all the details, but I think it's pretty much been put to bed now. And yeah, it's good to hear and good to see. And yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No worries at all, man. And Marty, thanks once again for coming on. We'll have to update everyone on where you can get those nose strips when they become available. And yeah, what else have you got going on, man? Obviously, you've got your sponsorship that you're pumping right now that you've recently got in contact with.
Yeah, just working with Rise. If you guys want to support me, code Martian, and then just watch the YouTube. Lots of content to come in there. So that's the main focus right now. So.
For sure. And Brett, you're launching the Butcher Hooks post Romania, is it?
Yeah, because I'm gonna be in Europe for 3 weeks, and I want to make sure I'm a bit, in charge of all that. So there'll be official days December 1st. I'll have plenty in stock, and I'm excited for that, man. It's gonna be a good time. So look, I'll be talking about it ahead.
And we didn't touch too much on your prep, but man, you're looking crazy right now. Like it's all come together those last few weeks. I can tell, and I'm very, very excited for Romania Pro. And obviously, Nick, you predicted that he'll win that and be on stage with you at the 2022 Mr. Olympia. And I hope to see it, man, because that would be absolutely killer.
Me too. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries at all, man. And Jonni, what do you got going on YouTube right now with content?
I just head over to my channel, Jonni Shreve, Jonni Shreve, and head over to my page, JonniShreve.com. I got my 3, 4, 5 day splits that are out, my ebooks out, my push-pull legs, bunch of stuff there. So 95% of the stuff I say is for free. The other 5% you got to pay for it. So check it out.
Awesome. Also, he's an actor. Remember that.
Yeah.
Kids versus aliens.
Kids versus aliens.
Kids versus aliens.
Kids versus aliens will be out next year.
Love it, man. And Nick, what do you want to promote, man? Because I've got I've got the links to everyone's Instagrams and YouTube's in the comments below. But what do you want to put out there?
Take Young LA, Celsius. They're my sponsors, so they're good to go.
I want a Celsius right now.
Celsius is fire, bro.
I really want one.
Yeah, you need to try the Rise Feel, bro.
No, man, I heard him.
Sunny D is so addicting.
I could try anything right about now. I'm right now. I'm at the point where I'm reading these comments and they're blurry. I can't read them anymore.
Yeah,
dude, I get like that at night too.
Cutting off.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk next week.
I love how Brett's wrapping it up. All right, see you guys.
No, I didn't.
Wrap it up,
Wrap it
wrap
up. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Good night, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to all these guys' channels as well. Show them some love on social media, on Instagram and YouTube. So that's it for myself. Xavier Wills. We're going to play the music, Johnny. Don't worry. We're going to get to it. Jonni Shreve, Martin Fitzwater, Brett Wilkin. Did I say Nick Walker? Because obviously Nick Walker and myself, Xavier Wills. We are out.